Welcome back to the Ross Bolen podcast, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, joined by the current world record holder for most times spanked by an employer, Jared Borislow, a.k.a. J-Bone. Happy New Year, Jared.
Happy New Year. I'm still waiting for that first 5-star of the new year.
It's coming soon.
Can't wait.
It's coming soon. Maybe after we finish recording today, we go out back, you assume the position, and I will deliver. New year, Jared?
Nope.
Same you. Let's start off 2023 with some insane headlines of the day. Then we've got a huge announcement from J-Bone and some updates on my HOA and the upcoming birth of my son later in the show. But first, our first headline of 2023. 21 Savage says he wants to be frozen so he can be alive in 21. From XXL, with 2023 officially here, millions of people are making resolutions for the new year, but 21 Savage is wishing for something more grandiose than a New Year's resolution. He's wishing for the gift of eternity. I'm not sure that's actually accurate, XXL, but he's at least wishing for longevity, not eternity. Longevity. They continue. On Saturday, December 30th, hours before ringing in the new year, 21 Savage jumped on his Twitter page and made a bold wish. The Her Loss creator wished to be frozen for 98 years so he could see the year 2121, which will obviously coincide with his rap name of 21 Savage. Thank you for the explanation. It says, although 21 Savage may be joking, scientists are currently experimenting with ways to cryopreserve human bodies, particularly freezing human bodies and preserving their organs for future research. I know I've asked this question before, but is Walt Disney frozen?
So we looked into this. I don't think he actually is, but I think Ted Williams is.
It's like skeptical rumors about several different celebrities and whether or not they may or may not be frozen, a la Austin Powers. But I feel like we've been down that road before.
Evacuation.
Complete. Yes. Nevertheless, XXL says, if 21 Savage, who is currently 30 years old, lived until the year 2121, he would be 129 years old, which would be impossible to achieve in his lifespan, it says.
How do we know that?
Yeah, I don't know if that's factually accurate either.
Modern medicine is getting better and better all the time. If he lived for 70 more years and he's still alive then, I'd be like, at that point, we might have the ability to put him into some sort of coma where he's hooked up to all these machines and he can be alive still.
Sure. 21. It says, after reading 21's tweet, fans on Twitter offered the Atlanta-raised rapper some words of encouragement. Famously, he is indeed British, if you recall.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Atlanta-raised, British-born. It says, one of the people tweeted, only 72 years, bro, you got this. Prayer hands emoji. This is all part of the XXL article that I'm reading to you right now. These are tweets that they have chosen to cite. Here's another one where one fan suggested that 21 Savage invest in the future of young people so they could be able to see the year 2121. Quote, bruh, just stop being a moron and invest in legal business ventures, create a financial account and system that provides support for the years of young lives who will surely see into the future longer than any of us. Support the music, musicians, artists, creatives who are around.
I don't like that XXL is encouraging trolls by showcasing terrible tweets.
Yeah, come on, Hardo. What the fuck? Invest in the future instead. Shut up, guy. Another person warned the 10 Freaky Girls rhymer that the world as we see it might not be around in 2121 if we don't protect our ecosystem. So it just gets continuously lamer.
Is that Greta Thunberg?
It's not. I wish it was, but it's not. It says, there's not going to be much to look at if we keep going the way we are. You'll wake up in 2100 like, where are all the animals? Hashtag biodiversity. It's a real tweet.
Would you ever consider getting cryogenically frozen? And if so, what would be your end date?
Only if I was either very ill. What is the word when you're
terminally ill?
Terminally ill. Yeah, if I was terminally ill, or if I was elderly, and I just wanted to be frozen for the sake of being able to see what we'd have going in the extended future. Because as of right now, I kind of have to agree with the hashtag biodiversity tool. I don't feel like things are going to get significantly better. Maybe now is the best we've got.
I was wondering that. Everybody always says, oh, well, the present is the best time to be alive in human history. The the people are living the longest ever and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, at a certain point though, it's gonna stop being the top of the bell curve, right?
Yeah.
If we're ruining the world.
Well, which a lot of people, I think, feel like is now or recently that we kind of reached that top of the bell curve, and now we might be headed on the downslope.
I think the peak of human existence was when the most famous person in the world was William Hung on American Idol. She bang, she bang.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you
I
there.
think that was the peak of human civilization. It's just all been downhill since then.
Because it was before the internet like truly ruined everything.
Yeah, like you were buying that song on iTunes for 99 cents and like you still thought that was a steal. You're like, oh my God, I get to own this right to play this for 99 cents? Holy shit.
This classic piece of music that will live on through all of eternity. I wonder what that guy's up to now.
I know Sanjaya, who's another famous American Idol alum, got out in the early stages, but was like a legend. He's doing cameos. So
William Hung. Yeah, it's the same concept for me as you're asking about humanity. Like, it's rough to peak early, like William Hung did. Like, he was like a young man. He achieved a level of worldwide fame that is rarely achieved, but everybody kind of knew then, oh, that's as high as that's going to go.
The issue is, if it was the present day, and I think William Hung would think that now's the best time ever because he would just get on TikTok, post
Pick up 3 million followers.
Get 3 million followers on TikTok and then make money doing that forever.
Yeah.
He used too early.
I just don't think anybody's paying like an appearance fee for William Hung to show up at the club anymore. You know,
I think nobody under the age of, at this point, 28 knows who he is.
Yeah. If you don't know who he is, you have to Google, look up his hit song. I assume the title of which was She Bang.
Is that a Ricky Martin song?
That he was singing at an American Idol audition, I believe, right?
Yes.
Man. Yeah.
Simon Cowell, Randy Jackson, Paula Abdul.
The heyday of American Idol was something to behold as well.
It was an absolute like cultural phenomenon.
Oh yeah. Like people showed up in droves. Like thousands and thousands of people would be in line at each of the cities to go audition and then hope that they would make it to the actual episode on TV or whatever. And like there was a period of time there for at least a couple years where literally everybody, I'm not even a reality TV guy. I do not enjoy reality TV by and large. But even I tuned in for American Idol those first couple years because it was fucking chaos.
And the singers actually were really good. And I think there's a lot of people who have no idea that these American Idol alums are like some of the most famous singers in the world. Kelly Clarkson was the winner of the first season.
Yeah.
One of the most famous,
But did they ever get better than that? I don't think they did.
Carrie Underwood.
Oh, wow. She was an American Idol alum? All I remember is Chris Doherty. And that's because he had a similar...
Chris Daughtry?
Was it Daughtry?
Yeah, Daughtry.
I went to school in middle school with a guy who had the last name Daughtry.
Jennifer Hudson.
That's why I remember Chris, but mispronounced his name for some reason.
Jennifer Hudson, very famous.
Oh, yeah. That's another big one.
I mean, and just in terms of careers, Ryan Seacrest has parlayed American Idol into being the voice you just hear. You can put on any random radio station.
I mean,
he's Ryan Seacrest.
He's inarguably one of the most powerful people in entertainment. Ryan Seacrest is responsible for the Kardashians.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I was watching. Everybody knows, J-Bone's Kardashian Corner, my segment. I was watching the Kardashians. Executive producer Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, look, the amount of success that he has had is unrivaled in the history of television entertainment in terms of production. Like American Idol, first of all, and hosting it and all that, but then parlaying that into the Kardashians, which you have to assume he gets a sizable cut of their entire fucking situation, which that's not.
And he's the #1 radio host in America, like radio wave radio in your car.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Do you still listen to the radio ever?
I used to. I don't know.
Yeah,
I used to do it. I used to have a commute to work that was like 15 minutes, and my radio in my car was broken, so it would take me like 3 minutes to hook up my aux cord to my phone. At that point, I was like, I'm not going to waste my time. I just listened to the radio. 97X.
I was watching
Jason
actually
in the morning.
Before we came in to record. I had Seinfeld up on because I went to YouTube TV on the old Apple TV out there. We've cut the cord here at Bolen Media headquarters, and we've got YouTube TV. But even so, when I go to YouTube TV, it's like suggestions for you. And it's usually like sports stuff, or like lately it's been a lot of Astros World Series reruns, and which I've really enjoyed.
Foot stuff.
And foot stuff. A lot of feet. Foot channels, foot programming. But it was Seinfeld was one of them on there. So I clicked on it, and it was on a channel, like a cable channel, so it was It had commercials, is my point. And I just sat there wondering to myself, like, why the fuck would anybody, I mean, I was just being lazy and needed something in the background while I was writing the show, but I was like, why would anyone in 2023 choose a life where you're watching television programming with actual commercials, cut like a 5-minute commercial break every 5 minutes, it seems? That's insane. And this is the reason I bring this up, because the radio is even worse somehow. You'll get like 2 songs, and then the rest of your car ride is the most annoying radio commercials ever done. And radio commercials have not been updated in my lifetime. They're all executing on the exact same fucking strategy as when I was an 8-year-old. And I'd be in the car with my mom or my dad thinking to myself, does anybody actually purchase any of this shit?
How do you make a purchase? You're driving a car.
Like, it's the car commercials are a great example. Like, their car commercials on TV and on the radio, they go with the strategy of being as obnoxious and attention-grabbing as they can.
It's like the head-on apply directly to the forehead commercials. It's like that strategy. Just be super annoying.
Like if we started every ad read on our podcast with a hype horn for the first 20 seconds, just like, beep, 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 beep. Like that's how the radio operates, and it's bad.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about radio is you just press next station, and then you just keep going until you find one that doesn't have ads on.
There's just so many options now between podcasts and like the premium radio offerings like Sirius and all that nonsense, and you know, fucking streaming, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever other options there, Tidal.
But the thing is, from what I understand, radio is like the most underrated medium in America because it has like the amount of daily listeners of radio is like way higher than you would ever expect.
Oh, it's mind-boggling.
Most people with cars don't listen to their phones.
Yeah, it's a generational thing too. Like anybody over the age of, I want to just say 50 to be safe. If you're over 50 years old, you're probably, you know, it's extremely likely that you never transitioned to all the new age technology. I wonder what that's going to be when we're older.
Well, so another thing to consider as well is that no cars before, let's say, 2004 have an aux cord even. Not just Bluetooth, have an aux cord.
Yeah.
Think about how many cars from before 2004 are still on the road.
Dude,
all those cars have to either listen to tapes, CDs, or the radio.
My car before the Tesla was a 2003 Lexus ES something or other. I don't remember. It was old as fuck.
Didn't you have a 6 CD changer?
No, but, well, maybe. I might have. I can't remember because I ended up I went to one of those like sound car audio fucking places, which are like, just by and large, the sketchiest places you can go. It's like worse than the mechanic or a pawn shop. You just feel like you're being worked the entire time you're there trying to purchase subwoofers or whatever fucking amplifier you're trying to get. I have good experience with this because I famously had 3 different subwoofer powered or amplifier powered, but subwoofer featured sound systems when I was in high school. I fucking loved the bass just rattling the whole expedition as I drove around Houston. But I went to that place, one of those places in Austin, and had an aux or a Bluetooth installed. But I had to have it installed. It didn't have Bluetooth in it. So I had to pay like $150 to get Bluetooth put in the car so that I could connect on my, on my iPhone and not have to use the 6 CD changer,
And then you were slow, loud, and banging.
All in my trunk, Jared. Trunk full of funk. I ain't never been a punk. All right, next headline before we get too carried away here. But my point is, it's been literally years and years since I listened to the radio in any form.
I thought you were going to say since you listened to 21 Savage, because that was what this was about.
Oh, yeah, 21. He's going to make it, man. I believe.
You think he's going to make it?
I believe he can make it.
You think he's going to make it to 21.
I believe he can make it. I really do. He can get it done and see how shitty the world is at that point for us all. Today's episode is brought to you by Indochino. I've got a couple weddings coming up this year, Jared's included, assuming I'm invited. And as many of you know, on a day-to-day basis, I am a pretty casual dresser, which is why when it comes to looking my best on big days, I trust Indochino for all my more formal needs. If you rang in the new year with someone special and 2023 will be a new chapter in your relationship, Indochino is ready to help you look your best on your big day. With their huge variety of customizable details and fabrics, Indochino can help you create anything from made-to-measure blazers and suits to a custom portrait-worthy tuxedo, all with no tailor necessary. I can tell you personally, the Indochino experience is incredible, whether you go to one of their showrooms and get measured up or you do it from home. I have done both now. I went to the Indochino showroom in Austin, Texas, the first time I used Indochino. But for my most recent order, I measured myself at home, checked out all their wares strictly online, and the end result is still the best custom clothing experience I have ever had. Many of you ended up complimenting me on my green Indochino suit. It's my favorite suit I've ever owned that I got from Indochino. I posted photos of it on social media in 2022. Got a ton of great feedback from the RBP gang, and can't wait to wear that again next time somebody puts me in a situation where I need to wear a suit. That one was ordered entirely offline, or off of the internet, rather. Didn't even go into the store. Indochino gives you everything you need to create a custom suit that's right for you. Shop online by setting up your measurement profile and choosing the fabric and customizations you want. If you prefer an in-person experience, you can book an appointment at an Indochino showroom and work with an expert style guide to take your measurements and walk you through your customization options. Then you just sit back while your suit is made for you and delivered straight to your door. Indochino is a tailored experience at a great price. Design a look that suits you perfectly from the fabric to the cut. Suits start at just $499 and premium fitted shirts start at $89. You can fine-tune every detail, lapels, linings, monograms, and more. I have one of their shirts that is the shockingly best-fitting shirt I own, and it has my monogram WRB on the cuff there. If you're ringing in 2023 with wedding bells ahead, start planning your custom look with Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use code RBP to get 10% off any purchase of $399 or more. That's INDOCHINO, Indochino.com, promo code RBP. So a couple of weeks ago on Patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast, Jared made a huge announcement related to his future and that of Bolen Media and the Ross Bolen podcast, which today, right now, we are making to the general public. J-Bone.
Well, they would have gotten it earlier if they were a patron at
That's correct.
patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast. So.
True enough, sir.
But if you don't know by now, your boy J-Bone is moving out of Texas.
J-Bone.
J-Bone.
He's moving to Wisconsin.
Moving to Wisconsin, baby.
End of the month?
Yeah, end of this month, beginning of next month, yes.
Into January, beginning of February?
Big cross-country move ahead. But yeah, very excited to move on up there. Kind of the place that my fiance, soon-to-be wife, like Ross said, later this year, want to settle down, live the rest of our life, raise a family eventually. So
you're going to move up to Wisconsin. Start a family.
Turned 30 this year.
Yeah.
So start the 30s off with a bang.
Bang!
Very exciting. I'll miss working with Ross inside the studio every day, but I'll still be working with Ross just remotely.
I will miss seeing you face to face and smelling your musk, and really most I'll miss taking you out back and spanking your tight little ass, which we'll have to find a way to do virtually.
Yeah, there might be a way we can do rig up a remote control hand
that swings when I press a button.
With Jackass, they have a big old hand.
Yeah, they really took that technology into the future. Jackass.
They did.
Made sure that we could spank each other remotely.
I'm sure we'll find a way.
We'll figure it out.
Love always finds a way.
We will figure it out. But yeah, very excited for Jared. As I've said for many months now, it became clear in the first half of 2022 that eventually Jared would need to dedicate 100% of his work life to the continued development and growth of our F1 show here at Bolen Media, Formula Bone, created by J-Bone back in 2021 and recorded and produced entirely by Jared throughout the entire 2022 F1 season as well. So one way to look at Jared's move, if you're a fan of the Bone Man like I am, obviously, is that this is like the next step in that regard. Jared will still be featured on RBP regularly in the first half of this year, especially via Zoom. So it's not like he's going to be disappearing, okay? We're still working together. He's still at Bolen Media. He'll still be joining me on RBP remotely when he does. And he'll be working on setting up Bolen Media's Wisconsin headquarters in the Formula Bone studio up north.
Mm-hmm. And luckily for me, it's only getting warmer after I get up there until the next winter when it's going to get colder.
When it'll become
a
freezing hellscape again.
I lived up there for that in college.
You're from there.
A lot of people think that.
Yeah, you're right. Jared's from Florida. Obviously, I always joke that actually it wasn't a joke for a few years there. I legitimately just associated you as a person with strictly Wisconsin and not Florida in any regard.
Huge compliment.
But you went to school there.
Yes.
University of Wisconsin.
Went to the University of Wisconsin, if you didn't know that already. Moving back up there, I do love Wisconsin. It's my favorite state.
Big Badger.
Big Badger guy. Love beer, fried cheese curds, brats.
Yeah.
I don't call it a bubbler, though. Up in Wisconsin, they call it a water fountain, like a drinking fountain. What do you call it? Water fountain or drinking fountain?
Water fountain.
I call it a water fountain as well. And then people who say drinking fountain go, oh, well, a water fountain could be the one at the Bellagio. And
Is that a regional thing?
Yeah. Some people call it a water fountain, drinking fountain. In Wisconsin, they call it a bubbler.
Huh. This is how some people say like soda pop.
Yeah, so soda pop.
Give me a Coke.
I don't think I do any of those weirdly. Like when you take that New York Times dialect quiz.
Yeah.
Mine gets mine right. It says I'm from like Tampa Bay area. Because one of the things in Florida, we call it a sun shower when it's sunny and raining.
Okay.
And that's like one of the ones they use to pinpoint me. I wonder for you, I bet your milk would probably impact you.
I don't know that
Milk.
that's a regional thing. That's more of like a personal disability that I have and
What about
deal with on a daily basis.
A basketball goal.
That one's bad too.
Why do you call it a goal?
I've stopped this one. I say hoop now, all right? Because honestly, strictly out of being shamed into it, because so many people over the years were like, did you just say basketball goal? Be like, yeah, what do you mean? They're like, it's a hoop. It's a basketball hoop. No one says what you're saying. And so I eventually stopped.
Yeah. If we're lucky, I will pick up a Wisconsin accent. I haven't yet, even though my fiance is, from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
More so because we live in Texas. Hers has kind of faded away. But when I go up
I was
there,
about to say, I've never noticed hers before.
yeah, when she's back in Wisconsin, it comes back.
So is the accent you say, first of all, you say Wisconsin, right?
No.
No?
Okay.
Some people.
It's more so like Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Like less of an A, more of like an AO hybrid. The big one is bag instead of bag.
Give me the bag.
Oh, can you hand me that bag?
So it's a little bit like the Minnesota accent that I love so much.
Yeah, like the Minnesota, the Chicago, and the Wisconsin are all
interchangeable in some ways, but also have their own differences.
You can tell them apart, but if you're not from that area, they would all sound pretty similar to you.
My favorite thing that Minnesotans say is, oh, sure, hun.
Yeah.
I love that one. That's my favorite.
So
I learned that from Fargo.
Calendar, that's one.
Calendar. I hope you pick up the accent.
Let me check my calendar.
That would be that'd be huge for us regionally.
It would be big.
We'd be more relatable to more people if you carried a northern accent.
Although a lot of people hate on the accent. I like the accent.
I really love it. I'm not joking.
It's very homey. I mean, like, you feel at home.
Yes.
With the person.
Yes. It's a homey accent. Sure.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure, hon. But yeah, no, it's really exciting stuff. And eventually, as I've also stated before, I will need to get a full-time co-host for RBP in the future at some point that can also handle all of the marketing. It's one of the biggest reasons for this show, because I'm swamped, man. I've got 2 other shows between Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, and now Banging the Can, my Houston sports show. And then I've got my son coming in the first week of February. But yeah, until I can afford to make that move, the show goes on as usual. Jared will be zooming in from Wisconsin on occasion. Probably not every episode, as it's going to be a huge transition period for the both of us, and scheduling is going to be hell at the beginning of February in particular.
Yes, when you have a baby.
I will.
The big changes this year in general. I'm moving. Ross is having a baby. I'm getting married.
Just casual life changes.
Yeah. Ross is also adopting 15 rejected and like what was it?
Kittens.
Yeah.
I didn't think 4 dogs was enough to go with the toddler and the newborn, so I'm going to adopt 15 rejected rejected from
I don't
what?
know. I meant dejected.
They were rejected.
I think
though.
I meant dejected or like ignore. I don't know. I don't know. They were rejected.
They were ejected from a fighter craft. That's what from a fighter plane.
Yeah.
15 kittens that were ejected from a fighter plane. I will be adopting. Everyone knows that.
Call sign meow.
And again, everyone listening, if you're like, whoa, that's crazy big news. I can't believe I'm just now hearing it. Well, you would have been aware of J-Bone's Big News 2.0 weeks ago had you been supporting the show on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast in exchange for even more RBP, which we would greatly appreciate as this year in 2023, we are taking huge swings as a company to try and grow this thing and expand. And Jared and I taking huge personal swings as well, and also swinging with each other.
Yeah.
So get on Patreon today and make sure to congratulate J-Bone on social media on his upcoming life event on Twitter and Instagram at Jared Borislow.
Congratulations on the life event.
Congratulations on your upcoming life event, Jared.
Yeah, say that.
Also getting married this year, though.
That's true.
That's big stuff. Are you ready for the wedding yet, or are you handling the move first?
Move first. But we most of the wedding stuff is handled. It's just like the nitty gritty.
The logistics?
Yeah, I got a chuppah.
A what?
It's a Jewish
Oh my God! I didn't even think about this. Wait.
Yeah,
Is this going to be a Jewish wedding?
It's going to have the best parts of the Jewish wedding.
What are the bad parts?
I don't actually know. I only know
praying.
No praying.
There won't be any praying.
There will be no praying.
No actual religious aspects, just the fun shit.
I'm gonna break the glass.
Are you gonna get picked up on a chair and
I'm gonna get picked up on a chair?
That seems so dangerous.
Do the horror. Well, you have you have one on each leg and a spotter in the front and back.
Okay, so y'all have this down to like a system, a safe system,
and then you got to each hold at one end of a napkin, like a cloth napkin or some sort of towel, so that you can move around a little bit and not just like break each other's arms off.
In the chair? Mm-hmm. While you're up there?
Yeah, because both chairs move independently. So like one chair might be moving in a circle around the other one. If you're holding each other's hands, because you got to be connected, it's a wedding. If you're holding each other's hands when you do that, you might just get your arm ripped off because there's 700 pounds of torque moving a chair around.
Last thing you need is dislocate your shoulder on your wedding night.
Guarantee it's happened. Guarantee you can find videos of horrors gone wrong.
Horror.
Well, the horror is the dance. I don't. The chairlift is during I don't really know what the chairlift is actually called.
You don't need to know yet.
But the horror, the circle dancing.
Yeah. That's also something I'm looking forward to. Never been to a Jewish wedding. It's gonna be good stuff.
A little Hava Nagila in your life. It's again not a Jewish wedding, but I am gonna have the
I've never been to a wedding that has Jewish themes.
Stepping on the glass. I got a chuppah. I'm not wearing a yarmulke. I haven't worn one of those in a very long time.
What is the glass you step on? Is it a cup?
It's one of those
like a shot glass.
It's a butt plug.
Oh yeah.
It's
It's a butt plug urn.
Symbolic.
It's okay. God. Anyway, big stuff in 2023 for J-Bone, for Formula Bone, for Bolen Media, for RBP. We're very excited. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for listening to our show and for the support. And we'll keep you updated as things progress in the way of Jared moving up to Wisconsin, and all the other stuff that we just mentioned. Today's episode is also brought to you by Liquid IV. One of my New Year's resolutions is to maintain consistency with my workout program, and as a part of that, to stay as hydrated as possible so that my body has all the tools it needs to stay in shape. So Liquid IV is a huge part of that plan. The new year is here, and there's no better way to kick off 2023 than by making sure you're feeling like your best self. Liquid IV is the category-winning hydration brand fueling your well-being, and their hydration multiplier is the one product you're missing in your daily routine. In just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than you do with water alone. Use it first thing in the morning before a workout, when you feel run down, after a long night out, and on long flights. Not only is Liquid IV incredibly effective as a hydration tool, it tastes phenomenal as well. Variety of great flavors.
Road tripping is a huge time for Liquid IV because when you're on a road trip, you just want to drink caffeine. What I like to do is drink an energy multiplier from Liquid IV.
That's the good stuff.
It multiplies my energy, and it doesn't leave me like jittery and crazy. You just get a nice, clean amount of energy, travel you through the drive. I just drove 11 hours in the last 2 days on the highway.
Hell of a trip. Hell of a lot of driving for Jared this holiday season. And Liquid IV's energy multiplier powered him through it, but they've got great flavors like Concord Grape. I've actually got one in my Liquid IV water bottle that I've been sipping on during the show. Concord Grape is among my favorites, but also Lemon Lime, Pina Colada, Tropical Punch, Watermelon, Strawberry, and Passion Fruit. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. Contains 5 essential vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C, with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, made with premium ingredients, non-GMO, and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. Liquid IV is also on a mission to change the world. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 25 million servings in 50-plus countries around the world. Grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can save 20%. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code ROSS at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code ROSS, R-O-S-S, at liquidiv.com. Okay, one of my goals for this year, for 2023, one of my personal resolutions is also, as many of you know already, to infiltrate my neighborhood's HOA, the Homeowners Association, by being elected president, and then destroying the HOA from within like Maximus in Gladiator.
Yeah, because you don't want to actually be the president.
No.
You just want to be named president so you can destroy it, because being the HOA president is essentially just like having a part-time job on top of your job and the rest of your life.
Yeah, I've got too much going on for that shit. But I have had some big updates here in the way of my neighborhood HOA. Okay, so lately, I think because of the holiday season, we've had lots of neighbors coming by our house and like introducing themselves to us since we're new to the neighborhood. And now I should note, I have not met a single one of these people because of my strict no interacting with neighbors who don't live on either side of you policy. But my wife is a very friendly and socially normal person. So she's met a whole bunch of lovely folks in our neighborhood, several of whom are also pregnant and due in the first couple months of 2023, which is just kind of wild. There are going to be babies crawling around all over the place in my neighborhood soon. But the point of this story is that one of the people my wife ended up meeting is this lovely couple with a kid that's the same age as my stepdaughter. So they were like setting up a play date for the kids and making small talk when the husband happened to mention he is the head of our neighborhood HOA. And per my wife, he was a very normal and cool dude. Her words, not mine. I haven't met him yet. But yeah, he actually disclosed to her his reasoning for becoming head of the HOA, and I kind of respect it. Okay? Basically, I've talked about this before, but just in case you're new here, we have like one of those neighborhood pools, all right? Where, you know, if you live in the neighborhood, they give you a key card. And you're part of the HOA, you pay for the HOA every month or whatever it is, and then you can go use the neighborhood pool whenever you feel. It's pretty fucking awesome. I love it. And it's a big ass pool. But then adjacent to the pool, there's a full basketball court with 2 basketball hoops, not goals.
Nope.
And apparently this dude got elected president of the HOA simply so he could redo the basketball court and make it into a hybrid pickleball court, which they are actively in the process of doing, by the way. It's for a few weeks now. You can't use the basketball court right now because they stripped like all of the layers off the top and they're putting down like 3 different layers of shit and they're going to repaint it. But if you listen to our show at all in 2022 or you're following me on Twitter at WRBolen, this is the dude that I saw playing pickleball on the basketball court with his family that one time when I went to shoot hoops, and then I couldn't shoot hoops because the court was occupied by this allegedly cool and normal bozo and his pickleball playing family of hooligans. He literally told my wife that he took over the HOA for the sole purpose of being able to do what he is doing now to the neighborhood basketball court, which is under active construction as we speak and has been for weeks. Again, according to my wife, who is a proven judge of character having married me, this dude is cool and normal. And per me, a proven expert on sports and basketball courts, there was absolutely no need to redo this basketball court, to resurface the entire thing. I'd been playing on it for months. It was fine. And he's going to repaint the lines and make it into not only a basketball court, but a basketball pickleball hybrid with lines for the sport of basketball and lines for the silly game of pickleball. And this just goes to show that absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think there is a chance that this allegedly normal and cool guy might have meant to Maximus the HOA from within, but became consumed by the power of having control over the entire budget, and somewhere along the way, he lost himself, and he became a malignant dictator that must be destroyed, the task of which I'm taking upon myself. So that's what's going on in my neighborhood with the HOA.
Sounds dramatic.
Now we know this guy, though. Now I've got an in. But the sad part is, my wife says he's normal and cool, and I'm going to have to ruin his entire fucking life. I'm going to have to dig up all the dirt on him.
It sounds like your stepdaughter's going to be friends with his child.
Yeah.
I think you might end up being the odd one out here, and you might be the black sheep.
Oh, inevitably. Yeah. This is going to be like 10 years down the line. Everybody is going to get along,
and then also he's going to be a great HOA head, but because of the basketball court situation, you're going to...
Fucking pickleball, man. I'm going to freak out. 10 years down the line, I can hear my stepdaughter yelling at me already, Dad, why can't you stop? Just leave it. It doesn't matter. It's
You have a basketball hoop at both of your houses?
But it's not full court, Jared.
I get that.
It's not full court.
Are you even playing pickup?
No. I just like running the length of it and shooting at both hoops from half court.
So you wanna stop this guy so you can take up an entire tarmac to by yourself?
No, I want to stop him so I can destroy the HOA from within. Because here's more of my reasoning. Okay, in other HOA news, just general HOA, not my HOA. I saw a hilarious TikTok where this dude gets sent his neighborhood HOA's 2022 budget report, and he breaks it down in this TikTok and loses his shit. He says, all right, I'm here to convince you to never move into a community or move into a house where there is an HOA. And if you do live in a community where there is an HOA, you need to dissolve it as soon as possible. These are his words, not mine. He says, check this out. This is my HOA and what I have to deal with. And he goes on to whip out the 2022 budget report that the HOA is required to send every resident in the community. And they sent it to him in the mail, and it shows him like all of last year, all of the different budget shit. And they had an operating income at this HOA of $259,842, okay?
A year?
I'm sorry, $259,842 for just 2022. That was their operating budget for this specific HOA, okay? That's from all the HOA dues collected from all the residents in this neighborhood. And then he goes into like the general breakdown of like where they spent this money, all right? They spent $65,000 last year on landscaping. And this dude in the video, who is the member of this neighborhood, so you got to take his word for it, he says that 80% of the land is resident-owned and maintained, and there isn't that even much of an area that needs to be mowed or landscaped. Yet they spent $65K on landscaping alone. They spent $45,675 on pool management, and then another $5,000 on pool supplies, repair, and maintenance, which isn't even included in pool management. So it makes you wonder what that means. The guy starts to get angrier and angrier as he's going through this, by the way. But then in the reserves, like it's the last page of this document, and it's like the savings from the HOA, okay? It's like the money they had left over. And it was $58,000, which seems like it might be a large surplus. But then there is another section called Expenses from the Reserve, where an additional $61,000 was dedicated to pools and spas. That's over $111,000 just on the pool in 2022 alone, because pools and spas, the guy goes on to explain, they only have one pool that is a maximum of 5 feet deep. They have no spa. They have no hot tub, no jacuzzi. It's just one pool with no deep end that is a maximum of 5 feet deep. It is not an Olympic-sized swimming pool, he notes, and they spent $111,000 between the regular charges and then what the fuck ever they took out of the reserves. But he said also the pool is closed half the year, and they only do landscaping half the year. They don't do landscaping during the winter. So because of the expenses from the reserves, which frankly makes the reserves not reserves at all, the HOA is in the red. $16,000. So they are once again raising his neighborhood's HOA dues up to $170 a quarter, which is insane.
$170 a quarter.
$170 a quarter. He said he's been there for like 5 years, and it started at $150. It got raised up to $160, then to $165, and now it's going to $170 for 2023.
This sounds like bad management.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the first to say.
And it sounds like there's embezzling going on. Like, how the fuck do you blow 200 and... What the full budget was like $250,000 or whatever?
Yeah, honestly, if you are wanting to embezzle, the HOA is your wet dream. Because
it is.
You could skim an easy $10K off that by just lumping it in to some, $10,000 pool maintenance. Okay, you paid your buddy to shock the pool. He didn't do shit. He just made a company called Pool Shockers LLC, and you gave him $10K, and he gave it back to you.
Yeah. No, it would not be difficult at all. One time when I was a kid, one of my friend's parents, who was a teacher at his school, got caught embezzling school funds, but she was being pretty foolish with it. Like, they were going through her budget, and there was like a washing machine.
There was a rumor that my rabbi growing up was using the discretionary funds, dipping his
toes,
dipping his toes with his beak,
his penis,
dipping his beak, wetting his beak, dipping his toes
in them. But they're discretionary, aren't they? At his discretion.
See, that's what I never understood.
Just like we don't understand what reserves are.
Does discretionary mean? Because technically, it's his discretion, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants with it. But is it like his discretion, but his discretion has to be good? Because that's not a discretionary fund.
Yeah. They mislabel these things. That's what's confusing about it. But this dude's HOA breakdown was freaking hysterical. Like,
do you get one of these?
That's my other question. Where the fuck is mine? Because I got to know what this dude spent on this basketball/pickleball court situation. I got to know. And I will find out,
I want you to guess so we can have this.
I'm serious. I'm betting at least $50,000. I'm dead ass serious. It's been under construction for like a month and a half.
Here's what I don't get.
And there are several layers of shit going down
So
here.
I know that it's expensive to do all that. What I don't understand is is there room to have put in a solo pickleball court?
It doesn't, yes, to answer your question, yes, absolutely, yes. There is a fucking field directly to the right of the fucking basketball court that is completely unoccupied that could easily be made into a pickleball court, probably with the same amount of money. But even more ridiculous, I've seen this man and his family enjoy a game of pickleball on the basketball court before all of this money was spent.
Well, you don't know how much they were enjoying it.
Well, that's true. Maybe it was tough without the proper lineage.
Maybe what you saw was the beginning of all this. Maybe you saw he was trying to he chalked out the lines and he was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
I need to do something about it.
The whole family ended up arguing about the ball being in or out.
Exactly.
I don't know the rules of pickleball, but I assume there's an in and out.
There is an in and out.
Yeah.
Much like sex.
Yeah. In closing, HOA should not exist. Defund the HOA. I cannot wait for the election in my neighborhood, as I'm going to put together the most savage and aggressive presidential campaign ever seen, with a focus on the evils of pickleball and how it is a danger to families everywhere.
So again, that's one of the hottest takes I've heard in a while. Pickleball is like one of the most beloved sports. It's like, oh, your whole family can play.
Firemen love it.
Yeah, firemen love it. It can be played, in many. It's way more accessible. It can be played in more places. It's pretty cheap.
It's destroying American families.
Okay,
it is. Today's episode is also brought to you by Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Whether you're selling merchandise for your podcast or handmade kaleidoscopes, Shopify simplifies selling online and in person so you can focus on successfully growing your business. Shopify covers every sales channel, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform. It even lets you sell across social media marketplaces like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, packed with industry-leading tools ready to ignite your growth. Shopify gives you complete control over your business and your brand without having to learn any new skills in design or code. And thanks to 24/7 help and an extensive business course library, Shopify is there to help your success every step of the way. Selling merchandise for our podcasts here at Bolen Media has been a massive supplemental revenue source for us and our company, allowing us to provide our biggest fans and supporters with shirts and hats and coffee mugs that they can wear and use in real life to show their support for Bolen Media's shows. And Shopify can be the platform that enables you to connect with your supporters in the same way. I've used Shopify pretty extensively. It's very easy. It's very amazing, very straightforward. This is Possibility, powered by Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/RBP, all lowercase on that RBP. Go to shopify.com/RBP to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.com/RBP, and make sure to use our URL to show your support for the show as you take the next big step for your business. So, my son is due in less than a month. February 2nd is our due date. So yesterday was officially a month out from his official due date. My wife is doing great, by the way. Baby is doing great, both healthy and happy, albeit a little uncomfortable as he runs out of room in there and she nears the end of this wild-ass journey. And we've been doing a lot to prepare for his birth. We got his whole room is ready to rock already. Like, if he popped out today, we'd be good. Got his crib put together. I did the wallpaper, was my contribution. I've never done wallpaper before. It's quite a tedious pain in the freaking ass. I had no idea how much of a pain in the ass wallpaper actually is. But
you put paper on the wall.
Well, you got to put the glue is the part that's a pain in the ass because it gets all over you. I don't like being sticky. Oh, I'm all sticky. I didn't like that part. But we've got a stroller for him. We've got a double stroller that we got used from one of our neighbors, so that both kids can get pushed around. I guess if the toddler is feeling lazy, she's perfectly capable of running around by herself. I don't know why she needs to be in there, but we've got that one. I've got 2 car seats in the back of my Tesla now. In the back
Wow.
seat.
Where do the dogs sit?
They're pretty pissed off about the whole situation. They've got one little seat left for themselves. So I've been putting Bruce in the back and then Bella in the front seat next to me, which it's fine. It's fine. They're not loving it. That the transition of the car has been difficult for them so far.
At least you've eased into being less obsessed with them specifically. Like, you're as obsessed with them, but you have other things you're also like having your attention on.
Yeah.
Because like you had the new dogs, like that, because otherwise if it was just like straight.
Oh God, if this was a straight up transition, it would be really, really tough for Bruce and Bella. They've been, you got to remember, I've spent every day with these 2 goofballs since 2019. And I mean literally every day.
Like you take them with you wherever you go.
But for the first year, it was that I worked and lived in the same place, so we'd spend all day, every day together. But then literally since then, like they're sitting 2 feet away from me on the ground right now, sleeping in their little bed as we record this show, as they usually are when we're doing podcasts here at Bolen Media headquarters, because they still come to work with me every day. Because if I leave them at home with the other dogs, they all conspire together to ruin my fucking life by shitting and pissing all over the house. So it's like Bruce and Bella are like the rebels that come in and they're like, listen, they're not here. Fuck them for leaving us here by ourselves. Let's just wreck this place. But if I take Bruce and Bella with me, the other 2 dogs, Harvey and Penny, are perfectly well behaved and don't shit and piss anywhere. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But I also just love them. They're like they're my emotional support dogs without actual paperwork.
Notably, I saved Bruce's life.
Saved Bruce's life in 2022. Jared did. Hero Jared. # Hero Jared. And for Bruce's Big Adventure, which will be a children's book one day, I'm working on writing. I've had like 15 different people hit me up being like, you need to make this into a children's book. And I'm like, I know.
What's the J-Bone character?
Said it already. Dude, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. At some point, I'm going to spank him, and then they're going to not let me publish this book because it will no longer
It's going to be the only X-rated children's book.
Yeah, in history. But yeah, I've got a lot going on. It's been a real trip preparing for this and getting ready for it. And with every passing day as it gets closer, I'm just like, holy shit, this is real. It's like a very different experience, obviously, being a man when you're having a kid versus being a woman, because she's carrying the baby around all day. It's constantly with her. It's inside of her. And I just go off to work and do my thing. And there's no physical embodiment of what is about to happen to my life in front of me at all times like there is with her. So it's just been wild to wrap my head around. But really, the number one way that I've been preparing for fatherhood is mentally. Like that's been the biggest thing for me. I've been going to therapy once a week for a couple of months now, rather than the twice a month schedule I was doing most of the last couple years. And it has been enormously helpful just to make me feel like I'm mentally prepared. I've also started working out more consistently anyway, because I have become increasingly concerned that inevitably dad bod is coming for me, like it does for so many other fathers.
I don't know. Babies are really heavy. Like when I was holding my nephew,
Yeah.
I can't do it for more than like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that part I remember. Like I met my now wife and her daughter when my now stepdaughter was 1 year old. And I remember hauling her around because she wanted to be held and carried freaking everywhere, especially that first several months. And my arms stayed in good shape. But that's the thing you'll notice about the dad bod. These guys still have the big arms. It's everywhere else that becomes a problem. Mm-hmm. But you're not wrong about that. Like the one upside of like, you ever know, there's a lot of moms, like young MILFs with toned arms. I almost said toned ass arms, but it just like, that's the way I describe things, but it just sounds funny. Toned asses too, I'm sure. But their arms get real cut because you're having to haul this fucking kid around everywhere.
To the young MILFs.
Shout out to all the young to the young MILFs out there. But yeah, I don't feel like there's going to be much time or energy left over for working out, especially the first few months of his life. So I'm starting to understand it. Like, even just over the holidays, you know how the holidays are. I probably gained a good 5 pounds at a minimum, just crushing food nonstop.
I don't like that Thanksgiving and Christmas are so close together because I never lose the weight from Thanksgiving before Christmas, and then it just compounds.
It's a lot, dude. It's a lot. I've noticed some of my pants fit a little bit tighter than they did.
Is that why you wear the Daniel Bruce massive pants?
That's why I switched to giant skateboarding sushi chef pants, because I've got to fit my fucking ass in there. But yeah. I'm mentally preparing myself not to sleep at all and to operate for a few months in just zombie mode, which is this inescapable inevitability, as I understand it, according to my friends who are fathers. Like, one of the things I've noticed, women have great advice. Like, if you talk to another mom, they'll give you very specific advice. Like, I went into a jewelry store the other day because I'm getting my wife a push present, which is like a gift you give your wife when they're going to push out a baby for you, since you don't actually have to do fucking anything. And the woman I was dealing with was like, here's some advice. When you introduce baby RJ to your stepdaughter, make sure you're not holding her, nor is your wife, when you do that. You want to put him in the like bassinet. Basset hound. Put him on the basset hound. And then when you bring her in, that way it's like it helps with the territorial nature of children. So there's not like as much jealousy, because you know how far apart are you and your brother?
Like 15 months.
Oh, shit. You didn't have to deal with this at all. Me and my brother are 5 years apart.
Oh, yeah.
And when you've lived for 5 years and then your parents come home with another kid, you're like, what the fuck is this? My family did a great job. They gave me a Shredder action figure from the Ninja Turtles, and I went, okay, this is a good trade-off. So we're getting a present for my stepdaughter as well. But anyway, the point is she gave me sound advice. I was like, that's really good thinking. I will actually do that. Every single one of my guy friends that's a dad, both of whom that I'm picturing right now in my head, have multiple children. Their advice has been like, yep, that first few months is going to be a living hell. That's not advice at all. You're just warning. It's a warning. You're giving me more reason to be stressed and anxious. There's been nothing positive that has come from any of the dads in my life.
Validation that the anxiety you do have is real. So
it's fair.
At least you don't have to have anxiety that your anxiety isn't
for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, just something I've noticed. We don't do a great job of communicating the men, not as well as the women do anyway, in my experience. So my wife and I also watched a YouTube course on pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum that was incredibly insightful, but also fairly terrifying, if I'm being honest. Just because it's like get into all of it, like every single thing you could possibly want to know about birth and the entire process. And we don't have to get into it today. I don't want to scare any of you people, but it was a lot, man. But it did make me feel like for the first time, I had a better understanding for all you freaks like Jared, who's a big YouTuber and also just is a big YouTuber literally now with a 75,000 subscriber base on Formula Bone. You should go watch every episode of Formula Bone on youtube.com/@FormulaBone. Do it now. But all these Gen Z fucking Zoomer nut jobs out there listening right now who... You guys use YouTube for everything. Or like Daniel Baruch, our guest on Patreon the other week, literally taught himself woodworking via YouTube. And this was the first thing I've ever learned from YouTube, where it was like probably like an hour long, maybe hour and a half, 2 hour course total, split up into like 10 different chapters. And we watched all of them. And it was really easy for me to absorb. And I didn't have to read any words off of a page, which was dope. I love that. Not a big reader. And yeah, so I don't know though. The more I learn, the more incompetent and helpless I feel. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Seriously.
The more you learn, the dumber you feel.
Yeah, there's never been a more accurate phrase than ignorance is bliss. Like seriously, think about how much less stressed out you would be if you didn't know shit.
That's true.
Just even about the world. Like, the more we get into the social media age where I'm like, this is killing all of us. We're all far too informed about far too much that we do not need to know because we can't do anything about it. Now, obviously, there's a fine line there somewhere. But the point is, it's just proven that age-old saying to me that ignorance is indeed bliss in many, many ways. So, just something to consider. All in all, though, I am more excited for the birth of RJ for my son than I've ever been for anything in my life. So at this point, like the name of the game for me is just trying to maintain calm. And as the date grows ever nearer, it gets more and more challenging.
And
but
by the way, RJ stands for Rick James.
Oh, you finally cracked the code. For everybody who thought it was Ross Jared, it's Rick James. So his initials will be RJB so that people will think it's Rick James, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be an exciting year, J-Bone.
A lot going on.
2023. What's it going to be the year of? That's what people are asking. It's time to start thinking.
Yeah, I'm not even going to speculate now. It's something that's got to marinate.
I have had many people suggest the year of the bone.
Now, one thing
that can be taken many ways.
Now, one thing that I want to make clear is that this past year, 2022, was the year of the dog.
Right.
And you lost your dog during it for a brief but very unsettling time period.
A tumultuous period.
We need to be prepared for whatever we make it the year of to potentially cause us massive anxiety for a bit, but then overall be better than it started.
That was the nice thing about Bruce's big adventure during the year of the dog 2022. It was that it gave me an even larger appreciation for Bruce.
Yeah, but it had to have the happy ending in order for that to happen.
I know, that's a coin flip, right?
Yeah.
Thank God you have an eagle eye, or else we'd be sitting here telling a totally different story.
Disc golf. Disc golf made me great at spotting little tiny things among trees.
So you're saying don't make it the year of the baby, because then I could lose the baby for 2 days and have to call you in to spot him in the forest.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that into
something
consideration.
to consider.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to consider when making a year theme.
There are, but we're happy to hear your recommendations. If you have an idea for the year of 2023 and what it should be, holler at me and Jared on social media, at Jared Borslow on Twitter and Instagram, at WR Bolen. You can also just holler at our RBP accounts on TikTok, at the Ross Bolen Podcast. Actually, just don't holler at us on TikTok. It's impossible to see.
Yeah, the messages.
Yeah, it doesn't even function that way. But on Instagram, at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter, at Ross Bolen Pod, and then our personal accounts, which I just mentioned to you as well. Make sure you join patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Recent episodes include a recap of the Bolen Media Holiday Party, which was a really unexpected blast and literally into Jared's face at multiple points. Also, I did an episode last week with Content Cade while Jared was still out on vacation about Andrew Tate and the state of the internet that sent me spiraling into a multi-day depression, which I cannot more highly recommend.
And how about this week's Patreon episode?
We're going to have Jared's brother, Jeff Borislow, as our guest.
A lot of people said that the last time Jeff was on a Patreon episode, it was the greatest Patreon episode of all time. There will be a zone of some sort. It
is legitimately a top 5 RBP Patreon episode ever for me, personally.
The only downside of it is that
when we had you on before with Jeff.
Yeah, we were still working out the new audio setup that we had, and so it's like 6 decibels quieter than it should be.
A little bit quiet, yeah.
But
just crank it up,
it up, and then make sure you crank it back down before the next thing you put on.
Yeah, because it'll be real loud.
It will be.
We did a hotline call extravaganza a couple weeks ago, Jared and I, with calls from our listeners guiding the entire episode. I've dropped several mental health minisodes over the last couple months as well, focusing on different mental health subjects. That's something that I do for the Enforcer tier on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. So join today, support the pod. Huge year, taking big swings here at Bolen Media. J-Bone with exciting life developments, me with exciting life developments. We got a lot going on, and we would really appreciate you joining us on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast for even more RBP, especially if you're one of the people that over the last several months has been like, why do we only get 1 episode a week now? Well, there's always at least 2, and the other one's on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, so get on there. Do your thing. Also, merchandise, like the hat that Jared is wearing, the beautiful Formula Bone logo hat, or the RBP hat that's over my left shoulder, the Ross Bolen Podcast Astroworld themed hat, available on bolenmedia.com/shop. Get in there, shop around, grab what you want. We've got coffee mugs, the Formula Bone coffee mug in front of Jared as well, Stat Good Days, baby onesies and crew neck sweatshirts and mouse pads and coffee cups.
So many things.
So many great things on bolenmedia.com/shop. That'll do it for today's show. First one of 2023 is in the can, as they say. And now I'm going to take you out back and spank your can, J-Bone. J-Bone.
J-Bone.
Until next time, folks, peace be with you and also with you.